Welcome to another episode of Resortera Wave. Nayib Moran here. Another episode, another chance to talk about Mexican football, stuff that, we like to talk about. Shout out to that article that came out today as I speak, November 27th, the one that talks about Sports Illustrated using AI authors, fake authors. So look,
Oh yes.
that we are the times to be alive, no? So thanks to everyone that's viewed our last episodes in regards to El Tri in the series against Honduras, a crazy one. Really appreciate the views. We're going up. We're going up slowly, slowly. We got our production issues, but we're going up. But always a pleasure to have you on the show, Oscar, and thanks for your time.
Oh, thanks, Nayib. Thanks for having me. It's always fun talking.
So today we're gonna talk a little bit about La Liguilla, no? The Liguilla's coming up. The four matches is América León, Tigres Puebla, San Luis Monterrey, Chivas Pumas. Which, in my opinion, I think that last one is the one that is, it has se ve más igual, no? There's more balance between the two sides. It's anybody's game, to be honest. In the other series, I do see an advantage for América, Monterrey, and Tigres. Although, props to San Luis, props to Puebla for making it this far. And also, the whole playing thing, no? And then it's the 1 to the 8th, no? Los primeros ocho van a la liguilla. So after all this extra days and stuff, al final entran esos ocho. So, I mean, I think we're going to talk a little bit about which players need to step up, no? In a sense, who are the players that we want to see really excel in the Liga that will help Jimmy Lozano in 2024, especially heading into 2024. So Oscar prepared a select few or a list of players. I also prepared a little bit of a list, and then we're just gonna go at it and talk about them as to why we think they're important, no, for this proceso with Jimmy Lozano. So let's start it. Oscar, who are the players from your end that you think have to step up in this liguilla?
Yeah, I think players that I think that need to step up in this Liguilla, along with players who I think if they continue to thrive into 2024, leading into the Copa America, I think it will just benefit the national team overall for Jimmy and his team, and just overall players who are gonna. I think it's a good combination. Some of the players I might have might be unrealistic to some people, but
Nah.
I think it's a good mix because there have been players that were involved with the national team. So real quick, I think Fidel Ambriz is one for me who I think
Scored a
it's a long
golazo.
shot.
Del golazo against Santos, it was everywhere.
But forget that. I think he's just been really, really good. I think he's had the same impact as Chiquito Sanchez first had when he came with when he was breaking through Pachuca. I think Malagon too needs to have a big Liguilla too, especially after that big performance at the Azteca. Quiñones too. I think he needs to continue his form with Club America, another player on my list. And then kind of the two surprising ones people might see is Tecatito and Victor Guzman from Monterrey, who are players I think, giving the respective positions, I think will be a huge benefit if they perform well and hopefully force their way into Jimmy's squad, because I think they're all players that we need in the
Yeah,
national team that will help.
look, it's interesting that you bring up Victor Guzman because in the proceso, when this proceso started before Jimmy Lozano, let's say post Qatar, Victor Guzman was part of he was getting starts, no? He was getting major
He's,
looks from Diego
he
Coca.
played. He started over Johan in the big catastrophic U.S. performance, and there's a reason I think Coca picked the best players that he saw maybe during that week. But I really do think Guzman is a better footballer than Johan. But go ahead.
But Victor was in there, and also Ciel Herrera was in there, and then Jimmy Lozano comes in, takes over in the Copa Oro, and then after that they don't come back, no. And it just tells you a little bit about how procesos get, like, every coach is different. I understand, but at the same time is these are two players with future, no, quote unquote young players that you want them to get more reps, no, especially right now where there's nothing to lose. There's nothing. You got the ticket to the World Cup already cerrado, no? But now they're not even part of the picture, no? We'll see with Victor Guzman. I think the advantage about Victor is he's in Monterrey. Monterrey has a stacked team, even if Sergio Canales was injured from the very start. He has a great teacher right now in Hector Moreno. I think the fact that he's growing up alongside him, I think, should be beneficial. And I think I do agree. No, I think Guzman is a key player to look at during the league, especially because he's still a young one. No, he's still I think he's not even 21 yet. No, Oscar.
He might be just 21. I know he was like some. I think he is about to turn 21, or if not, regardless, he's under 23, and he's playing consistently on a team that mainly plays foreigners.
And it's a major considering that Montes, I think he was basically the el reemplazante de Montes. No, when basically, Montes left to Europe, he came in and took over his spot. Started with Cholos, Victor Guzman.
And Tecatito, also, I think,
why Tecatitos?
Tecatito, one is based on what I've seen through the Jimmy era, and in terms of one of the positions I think we need in terms of a player who's going to take 1v1s. Like, how many players right now on the national team during the Jimmy run right now are really good at the 1v1? Obviously, I get Tecatito doesn't have good end product, but I think the 1v1 is something that we lack, something where a player can kind of disrupt the organization of the opposition. And I think Tecatito does that well. I do think his end product has gotten better because of age. And from what I've seen in Monterrey, he looks good. I like him. I really like him. But I just think we need that because on the 1v1, he's still without a doubt the best Mexican winger in football all around.
Before I ask you the question, you were going to say something, no?
Oh, the Guz. Yeah, I just wanted to touch up on the Guzman thing. The thing is, too, based on if I had to replace the Montes or Johan partnership, I think the left center back is the weakest link, and that's where Guzman plays, and that's where he played with the U.S. And I think he did look good, and also just the physical stature versus Johan too. Because again, maybe I'm nitpicking Johan too because I just don't rate him. But if you look at the elite of the elite center backs in the world football, like right now, I'm watching a lot of Arsenal. I think Saliba and Gabriel are probably like one of the best partnerships in the world right now. And just look at their stature versus like a Johan, who's, I don't even think he's 6 foot. He might be like 5'10".
Yeah.
And Guzman is a big kid too. And he's also technical. Combine that, and I rate him more than Johan overall.
I mean, he has physical attributes, but also, a good IQ on the ball. A good IQ on the game. Opportunity to start, I think that's the key there. My list is a short one. Quiñones, because I think a lot was said, in this past series against Honduras, and he came in as a sub, but I think he needs to really step up, with America, score important goals. If I try to track back a little bit, what for example a player like Chucho Benitez was, in the sense of how influential he was in the offense with America as a goal scorer, but also as a facilitator. I think Quiñones has characteristics of that sort to be that for America, no? I think he finished the season with 5 assists. It is a big claim, but I think based on what he did in Atlas, it was major part of their bicampeonato. Now here in America, this is a big moment, no? Because America has been constantly getting into this scenario of like, top 3 finish, but now you got to close it out, no? And I think that's why they bought Quiñones from Atlas, for this type of moment, this type of scenario. And I think he has to do a little bit of everything, goals and assists, but I think it's going to be very, very important for him to get goals, because if he starts getting on a good streak, I think the goals will just start raining. And I think that's very, very crucial for America and the Liguilla. If Henry and him are flat out dry in the series against Leon, they're in trouble. luckily with Leon, they won't have Fidel Ambriz in that first game, or luckily for America, no, because I think if Fidel was involved in both matches, it could be an issue, no, especially in the control of the midfield. But we'll see. So that's Quiñones. Alvarado from Chivas, I think just like what you said with Tecatito, no, we need El Tri needs generators, needs players to create game for the forwards, for Santi, for Quiñones, for Henry, and I think Alvarado Schultz has been probably Chivas' best player this season. So I think if he can move that form that he's had with Chivas into the Liguilla, I think it will be productive for all parts involved, for the national team and for Chivas. Cordova, my last two are Cordova and Chiquete. And Chiquete and Cordova specifically hasn't had a good regular season. Well aware of that. But I'm intrigued if what happened last season in the Liga was just a fluke or is actually a real thing, no? That if he's able to sort of have another Liguilla with star caliber stats, then I think we're in front of a special player. But this doesn't take away the fact that during the regular season, he was totally off, no? I mean, he really didn't give anything to Tigres offensively, only like 2 assists, I believe. Mm-hmm. So those are the things that really are bothering about Cordova. But the fact that he had such a special Liguilla the last time around invites me to think that, he's a must-watch TV. What is he going to do? We'll see how Siboldi sees him. If he's going to give him, the starting role and make him, create that magic that he created the past Liguilla. And then with Chiquete, similar to what you said with Victor Guzman, no, it's another option on the center back position. What can he offer you as a left-footed center back that perhaps Johan can offer you? And definitely Chiquete has the body. I think he does have the tempo, also the temperament for the big games, no? So I think I'm intrigued to see what he learned in the last Liguilla and what he can incorporate in this one, and if there's a certain, improvement in his game.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree, Nayib. Chiquete, I think I've been a fan of too since even the last 2 tournaments. And same thing with him. I just throw him in there to see what he can give you at the end of the day too. It's one of those things. Just throw him in there in the Moleros games, but we all know that won't happen. Just want to touch up quick on the Cordoba thing too. I don't think it's a fluke. It's one of those things that he has the talent and the technical ability and everything. And the good thing for him too, Jimmy likes him. I mean, the fact that Jimmy has called him up all this time,
even if he's not, doing so well at the club.
Because I'm comparing him to Charlie, because Jimmy also likes Charlie too. Pero ya dejó Charlie, because you know how bad we've been at Cruz Azul. He's been at Cruz Azul, pero Cordoba, yeah, I think he has everything in him too. It's just, I guess, the discipline and being consistent. But again, the good thing about him too is Jimmy likes him. He's one of his guys, and if you're one of Jimmy's guys, then
two names to keep in mind that I've read in the last days. Memo Martinez, the striker from Puebla, might be in the call-up for the game against Colombia in December. I think it's his first ever senior national team call-up, but I think he scored over 10 goals, I believe, this season with Puebla. So that's a name. And then Alan Mozo also is another name that I've been hearing.
It's crazy. I don't think he's got an opportunity already there at the national.
No.
I think
and we did do a show about Mozo.
I was going to say, we did a specific episode on what he can offer to the national team. I want to say almost 2 years ago now, maybe a year ago.
Yeah, that was when Lilini, and then when they were making this run in the Conca Champions. And Mozo deserves it, in my opinion. I don't care about what nothing that Jorge Sanchez has shown or Julian Araujo has shown has been mesmerizing. It's been average, or playing out it has been very, very average. It hasn't been amazing. So the fact that Mozo will probably get a look, I think he's worked it, and this is another one. This Liguilla is a perfect opportunity. Of course, he's playing against his former team, which, there's a sentimental aspect added to it, and the fact that he's gonna play against Pumas. But I'm not gonna lie, Pumas fans love him, even if he's playing with Chivas. Because of what he did with Pumas. I mean, it was so special. Such a complete player, and from a right back position.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, too, right, specifically under Lilini, we basically said there was a right back, a right defender, right at the defense, like where that it was kind of orchestrating a lot of the attack for Pumas, which is kind of crazy to think about. That a lot of it was facilitating towards our right back, which is kind of crazy. And you saw it in his stats too. His stats was when he was there.
I mean, it was uncontrollable. I mean, it was not easy to guard him, and I mean, it was mainly because of positioning. No, it was like you said, he starts the game as a right back, but he would go in many times and be like a facilitator, open the play to the Neno, or find those spaces to get scoring opportunities. He would take shots. So I think that we didn't mention him until now, but he is a player to look at. Of course, the age might not, what 25 or 26, I believe. But still,
it's hard to it's hard to do these two when, like, you already know. At least in my opinion, I kind of feel like I know what. No matter who we want to put on to keep an eye on, Jimmy already has certain players that are going to be in those positions too. Because for me, I think it's Jorge Sanchez, Julian, and maybe Kevin Alvarez from America. Now, those are his three guys, right?
Yeah.
So where does Mozo even fit in that? Even no matter how good he's been playing,
but also, like you said, it's not like Kevin Alvarez, Sanchez, Araujo have shown something special. I mean, it's been pretty average.
I know, exactly, but that's my point. But even if that's the case, it doesn't matter. He's just going to keep going with what.
Yeah. But we'll see. That's another talk. I mean, right now we're trying to put as many names in there that if they make a special Liguilla, then of course they're going to get looks with the national team, because as we saw in the series against Honduras, very few passed the exam. Very few really stood out. Maybe Edson Alvarez with the leadership stood out. Chiquito with the just being insistent. But that was about it. Quiñones with this minutes, especially at Azteca. But yeah, I mean, changing topic, and we'll see how this Liguilla goes. Are you going to say
real
something?
Quick, Nayib, what do you think about Jonathan Dos Santos?
He offers different things to Chavez and Chiquito, and even Romo, in my opinion.
He tiene mucho más salida than all of them combined. If he's on it.
If he's on it. And he's had a lot of minutes with Jardine. He's been one of the main players for America.
Mm-hmm. That's why I bring him up. Not just
everyone knew, when he was with Villarreal, and then he decided to move to the Galaxy. I think that's when he messed up, in my opinion. I understood the sentimental, personal aspect to play with his brother, but if he had stayed with Villarreal, he had the potential to be in Europe still, to be in Spain. I have no doubt about it. I mean, he had that type of talent. He could easily be playing. If Guardado has been playing in Europe so many years, Jonathan easily, without a problem, could still be playing in Europe, and could probably have played at the age of Guardado. But it's the mental aspect, no? It's sort of like these players have different goals, personal goals, different lifestyles, the way they take on the professionalism. I mean, but like what you said, if Jonathan plays really good and there's an open dialogue with Jimmy, he could potentially come back, because a lot has been said about Ache also in the last hours, because the Dynamo is now in the Western Conference Finals, one game away from the MLS Cup final. But Jonathan and Ache are very different players. They're midfielders, but they offer you different things. No, I personally, Jonathan is more aesthetically pleasing tactically when it comes with the ball. And Ache is more robust, I'd say. He is delicate, but not as Jonathan. There's more art in the way that he sees the game. But it'll be interesting what happens there. I mean, if in fact Achach is still considered part of the national team, or if Jorna is able to win a tryout again, no. But a lot would depend on how far America goes. If America's eliminated by Leon right away, I don't think Jonathan is part of the picture.
But let's say America goes to the final,
It
wins
wins.
it, maybe loses it. The next tournament, they also get far again, and he's still staple for the team. At that point, you have to considering his football capabilities and what he offers, and how much we suffer with that salida, getting it distributed really quick, because Romo or Edson doesn't do that. And even Achachi, like you said, two completely different players. And then also, even though MLS Liga MX levels are pretty much at the same, Jonathan is doing it at Club America, where even though his dad did play there, his brother played there, if he was as bad as many people think he is nowadays, he would have not been
wouldn't
on
be
the club
starter.
anymore.
Yeah,
Right?
or
That's
not
why I
even at the
said,
club.
and maybe this is all too maybe like sentimental too, because when I also watched him with Villarreal, and then watching him in the Confederations, and then I saw him against Costa Rica in the qualifiers too in the Azteca. And I thought he was impeccable, man. He was like, wow, he was a really, really good midfielder when he's on it and he's disciplined.
When he's on it and when he's disciplined, I don't think there's been many midfielders like that, Mexican midfielders,
And
that
the
have
thing that
reached
sucks,
that
it was
level.
such a short stint. People forget about it too.
Yeah, and they
It
say that he
sucks.
sucks, or that he's not, he's just a party boy and whatnot. But if you really paid attention to those games he played with Villarreal, with Marcelino Garcia Toral, who's back as Villarreal manager right now, in the 4-4-2. So Toral always played with the 4-4-2. Jonathan could play you all those positions in the midfield, all those four positions. And many times he would start on the flank, one of the outside midfielders.
Yep, I remember that.
So when I think about what for example, what Lozano tried to do with Orbelín in Tegucigalpa, and Orbelín doesn't do anything. In cambio, when Jonathan played that position
When
with
he's on,
Villarreal,
obviously, yeah.
hay niveles in the interpretation of the game, and how you sort of construct the play. And now that you're saying this, a team that people need to watch is Bayer Leverkusen, because Bayer Leverkusen does
Not a
all
doubt.
those movements, and it has to do a lot with Xavi Alonso, because Xavi Alonso, when he was a player, he was, he knew all the intricacies. But if you see that team, how they play as a unit, like every single one collaborates with the play. They're special players. They're special. Wirtz, or he's a special player.
Yeah.
But you got to see the whole 11. Everyone contributes a piece. So I know we're moving off a lot, but that's a good point you bring up, Jonathan. I think a lot of people don't.
Even if they don't even want to watch the Villarreal games, I think people will remember the Confederations. He was our best player, I think, in my opinion, when Juan Carlos Osorio was there. He was all over the place.
Yeah.
That's why I said when he's on it and he's disciplined, like I said, it sucks. Special. It was just a short window where people can actually see that type of Jonathan.
Yeah, no, and right now, we're talking like, well, he's 33, no? He's 33, but
if Achach is in the picture,
yeah, if Achach is in the picture, Jonathan should also be in the picture, no? But like I said, it's very difficult, the whole debate about a generational shift or change the team,
that's true.
And then you're bringing on these old actors, but it also tells you about the lack of talent that there is.
Exactly. You said it before. You got to play with what you got too. Si no vas a poner este chico.
And if they want to be part of it, I mean, porque Jonathan, he could be like Carlos Vela and say, I don't want to play for the national team anymore. But you don't know. We don't know. That's a question that has to be asked to him if he wants to be back. But we'll see. And to end this episode real quick, Tuesday, November 28th, Atleti plays Feyenoord in the Netherlands, and then the weekend Feyenoord plays against PSV. So it's a big week for Santi Gimenez. I think this is Santi Gimenez's biggest week in Europe. That's what I'm going to say right now. It could go totally wrong. It could be like, man, Nayib was dumb for saying this. But like, if he does well tomorrow, and what by that I mean that he scores at least one goal, I think that we're in front of one of the most special Mexican stories in quite a while. You know, I don't think this is hitting Chicharito levels when he arrived to Manchester United.
Oh, we can't say that. Not even on.
No, it's because I think if he does well tomorrow, and he breaks the records, you know, because I was reading that if he scores a goal against PSV, he would already have 30 goals in 2023
Oh, the in a year, right? To beat
in a
Luis
year.
Suarez.
So he's gonna tie Luis Suarez, which is not I mean it's Luis Suarez. You know, that's big.
Yeah.
And then he could actually demolish it because there's still plenty of games left to end the year. So, but I think that if there's and this is another one. I know that the Raúl Jimenez story at Atlético Madrid was not fun, but I think Santi Gimenez, if there's a club that he can play for, is Atlético Madrid. I think there is a match made there, and I think tomorrow is sort of like his
A tryout in a sense.
in a tryout to be close to Cholo. Cholo will see him on the field, how he interacts, how he plays on the field. The fan base will also be introduced to him because he wasn't able to play in the first game due to the suspension. But this is a big game in that sense. Atletico Madrid right now is one of the hottest teams in Europe. I think,
Sure.
Griezmann is playing amazing. He scored a goal this weekend that reminded me of Jared Borghetti's goal against Italy in 2002, just the way that he just moves the head, el cabezazo así. But I think this is a big one because if Feyenoord is able to do well against Atleti and then beat PSV this weekend, it's a big week in Santi Gimenez's European career. I think that the fact that he didn't do so well in that series against Lazio last year is still something that left a bad taste. No, was it? It was Lazio, right? It was
Last
Lazio.
week, the
No,
last in the Champions League. Or are you
last.
talking about the Europa?
I'm talking about the Europa League. No, that they were
Okay.
eliminated by Lazio, or
Yeah.
was it Roma?
Roma was the year before against. Actually, I think it might have been Roma both times because I know they played them in Conference League and then they played them in the Europa League. But
Tienes
one of those
razón. I
two.
think it was Mourinho and with Roma. I remember Smalling and stuff. So
One of
te
those
digo,
Italian clubs, but still
one
at
of
a
those,
higher level. At a higher
at a
level.
higher level, and so I think this is a big moment for Santi. O sea, de qué está hecho, no? To see him in that type of moment.
I agree on it, but this is definitely his biggest week so far. Definitely this season in his European career, probably too, because I think at one point during last year it was around the Europa League semifinals and stuff, but
Yeah.
the league was kind of already wrapped up and it was just focused on the Europa versus this time. You still want to get points to get through this the next phase, and then also he's battling it out right now for the league right now because they're not first. But I do think it's going to be big for him too because I think there's as much as we like to sing his praises and give him flowers. I mean, even one of your guys, Cuauhtemoc, he says respectfully, he's doing it in the Netherlands, right? No
Yeah.
como he's not doing it in the Premier or La Liga. So how much does ripping it in the Netherlands really translate at the highest level? I think we find out a little bit in the Champions League competition. So Feyenoord, if he can help Feyenoord get out of the group stage, I think it'll help prove his worth and what he's doing in Eredivisie and also doing it in Champions League. So
Yeah. I think it's and also I think it's very different when you enter a match like that as a surprise, no? Right now he's not entering as a surprise. He's entering it as a reality. There's expectation to see him now. And I think the way that he interacts or the way that he acts with that pressure, with that added pressure, because we have seen it with the national team and it's not been nice. It's been very rocky. I mean, you can't ignore his effort and his desire to do well with the national team. He has that. He's shown it. But the results are not there. with the club level, I think a lot of things seem to go his way, because the team isn't it. There's just technically better players in the Feyenoord. Let's just put it that way. And I think that makes him shine a little bit more. That's why he gets the hat trick this past weekend. He's this is more easy. The game flow is easier with Feyenoord than what it is with the national team. And that's why people are expecting the same results on both sides, but it's impossible. If the game flow with the national team is not the same as the game flow with Feyenoord.
Yeah.
And I think we'll see. But I really, really think that this is a good opportunity for him. I mean, hopefully it goes well. Hopefully if he does have a penalty, he has to shoot it the way he shot it against Honduras, a little not too hard or
Did they
not a
tie in
Panenka.
Spain or did they lose in Spain in the
I
first?
think they lost. I think they lost in Spain.
Yeah. To
I
be honest,
mean,
even a tie, it doesn't really help them too because I'm just looking at the table right now. They have 6. Lazio has 7. Atleti have 8. So I think they need to win if they want to try to salvage that last. They can play around with the last game. And like you said, I think this is a great opportunity for Kana.
they're playing home.
Solidify.
They're playing in Rotterdam too. I mean, you can't ask for a better moment. I mean, the whole crowd's gonna be there. The whole city's gonna be behind Feyenoord. It's the sort of games that Feyenoord wants to play. I think Feyenoord hasn't been. They slowly climb back up into that sort of greatest momentum, no? And shout out to Dennis de Clos. Dennis de Clos is involved in all this, and Dennis was in Mexico for many, many years. So now, he's in the big stage, the biggest of stages. And hopefully they have a great evening tomorrow. So we'll see, Oscar. Any closing thoughts for today's episode?
No, not really. Just suerte to Santi. Let's hopefully he can bag one at least against or help him, even if it's like facilitating the play, getting an assist or something. But that Feyenoord wins and they can go to the next round.
Yeah, Feyenoord,
Ojalá.
Atleti, 3 p.m. Eastern time, 2 p.m. Central time. We'll see how that works tomorrow in the Netherlands, and it'd be nice. It'd be nice for Santi to keep adding to that goal tally. I mean, the numbers are going to be impressive. No, if he keeps this what's it called? Consistency. No, this tally is already it's historic already. It's historic. So we'll find out. So thank you for watching Resortera Way. Thank you, Oscar, for joining me. And we'll see you next time.
Sigues.